It's the end of the first week of December 2024. I've been away from the boat for about a week. She's hanging in there. I got here yesterday afternoon and just had time to finish epoxying in my little strips. Where the caulking bevels had been destroyed by worms. I'd love to continue with that today, start making a pattern for planks, but we're expecting rain shortly. It's going to rain for 4 or 5 hours, and then I'll have, I don't know, an hour and a half of daylight. There's always tomorrow. Tomorrow's supposed to be a little drier and a little warmer. But you might have noticed that I hustled this morning to get this up before the rain starts. The reason being twofold. One, this deck is still letting in water. And two, I'm going to demolish this deck. I've decided. The more I look at it, especially last time I was here in the middle of the week, it rained all night long, and I could really get a better look now that I'd removed a lot of the rotten wood, how extensive it is. I realized it's going to be not only nearly physically impossible to replace all the rotten wood from below, it's never going to be right. It's never going to be right. I'll never be able to do as good a job as if I just suck it up, pull up the teak, preferably without destroying it. Fingers crossed I can do it surgically. And then get all of the rotten plywood and any more rotten beam wood. There may be some problems behind the cockpit. The cockpit tub may come out. I don't know. I'm going to start with the known worst of it. If these are not too stubborn, if they'll come up, if the fasteners will come out, and so I don't have to drill big holes around them in the teak, if the teak will come up relatively easily, it shouldn't be that bad because they're short pieces. I'm going to try to avoid removing the covering boards initially, including these here, although this seam between this and the face of the cockpit is definitely a problem area. If I have to replace some teak, okay, but I want to avoid replacing all of it, and certainly the fussiest. This is a long piece with a lot of crazy cuts in it. It's beautifully done. These little short guys will be easy. These will be relatively easy to refabricate if need be. I may decide if the teak really gives me a problem, I might say screw it, screw the plywood, screw the teak. I'm just going to get some Doug fir or a black locust and do a planked deck, which is what I really would prefer to have anyway, to be honest. The teak is nice, but teak-over-ply, it's a time bomb on a wooden boat. It's a time bomb. Even on a fiberglass boat, it's a time bomb. It's only a matter of time before it's rot. The core, the ply underneath is going to rot on you. So anyway, bottom line is it's got to come up. So this tarp should make it through the winter. It'll be easier to be a little bit warm under here. And with it wide open, it's not going to keep critters out of the boat, but I haven't seen a problem with that. I've had a plank off the side of the boat for months now, and no signs of mice, or I haven't seen telltale raccoon poop where they've been sniffing around thinking about trying to get in the boat. An enterprising raccoon could easily, if not up the ladder, could get up this boat, but I've seen no signs that they've been hanging about, although they are around. I'm going to play that by ear. I'll keep the companionway closed, of course, but this will be sort of open. I'm going to hang a makeshift curtain between the engine room and the rest of the cabin as well to keep the draft down and all that kind of good stuff and keep dust out of the boat. But yeah, that's going to happen this winter. We're going to, after the planking is done, although I may start on this today while it's raining, as soon as the planking is done, got my cotton in there, and I hope primer and seam compound before the deep freeze. We get into the deep freeze of January and February. After that's done, we're going to attack this deck and make it right, make it really good. Looking again at this covering board, this is one continuous piece. This is still at about a 3/4. Although I'm thinking about enlarging those drains that's pretty good. I think for now, before I start unfastening that, I'm going to get everything else up, get at this plywood, try to get the plywood out from under it maybe. Well, as if I wasn't frustrated and angry enough already, I just hooked the fastener with this bit and broke it. Thing's brand new. I don't have another big one. I'm gonna have to go and buy another one and break it. Anybody want to buy a boat? Or I could chisel these all out, or just forget about using these as patterns and just tear this whole damn thing up with a sawzall. And maybe a hatchet. I have my hatchets at home. That would be very satisfying right now. They're coming up easily enough. Whatever was used to adhere them has given up the ghost. The other issue is that this was originally 3/4 of an inch. It is now, in places, at about 1/2 inch. It's not thick enough. I might as well get fake teak if I'm going to do that. The original thickness of the entire deck system, as measured here, where there's actually there's actually a slope here from wear and sanding where the filler thing is. It was about, I'll call it 1 3/8 inches, maybe 1.5 inches. Let's say 1.5 inches. So this is going to take a very long time to do it this way. Extracting, getting the plugs out and the screws out is very, very, very time consuming and frustrating, and it leads to problems like this. How can I ever bung that? It's not going to happen. I'd have to oversize the holes, you say, but how do you maintain your center when you're drilling a bigger hole? And look how close together these are. It's a lost cause. This whole thing is hopeless, even though it looks great over there. It's not. It's not. I really can't afford to replace this teak, especially with 3/4 inch teak. Especially, this looks like the good older growth stuff that you can't really get anymore. And I don't want to go over plywood again. I mean, that's still soaking wet. That's loose because I removed a beam nearby. I removed this beam here, but still, you get the picture, right? I don't. This is stupid. It's a dumb way to do it. I guess it's done to save weight. I'm feeling today like I'm gonna just tear everything out. Tear it all out. Both sides. I could probably get that done in the next couple days, whereas if I continue with this, it's gonna take me weeks, months. And I'm thinking about, rather than something plank over ply, I'm going to go with plank. 1.5 inches thick, 1.25 inches maybe black locust. That's even better than teak for this sort of thing, and a lot cheaper. A little heavier, maybe, I don't know, 10 or 20% heavier, but I don't know, how much does wet plywood weigh? The question is, this layout, do I want to simplify it? I totally get the point of covering boards, which are these bordering pieces. Do I replicate all this in planking? It adds a lot more seams, but I don't know. I got to think about that. I think planks about the same width would be good. I think what I'm going to do is a sort of a compromise here, is rather than destroy all this teak, I'm going to just oversize drill to make quick work of getting the fasteners out. Try to get these things off intact to maybe use as patterns for whatever. Look at how cupped that is too. Whatever I replace it with, and definitely get rid of all the plywood. Then I can start dealing with the structure. I guess the logical thing to do would be to, man, do I want to leave that quarter round? Can I get away with undermining that quarter round without trashing it? We're gonna try. We're gonna try that. More rain. Well, I'm not gonna waste time and money getting another coring bit. I still, look what I had to do. I cored this one. I still had to spend about 15 minutes with the chisel excavating the head of the screw, which broke off anyway. So, yeah, I'm going to continue like this with an old chisel, just beat the crap out of it. And as long as I have the outline of these, it'll save me having to lay out paper and retrace them all. I'll do this side this way, and the other side I'm just going to tear it up with a Sawzall because they're it's symmetrical. Well, we're getting there slowly but surely. This is the area I cut out from below before. We'll talk about this plywood in a minute, but I'm starting to understand why so much water's been getting in here. I just cut around the seam on this piece and got the screws out best I could. These two broke off. That one was never there. Yeah, this is all split. This corner piece, and this water's been getting in here for sure, because this was some of the worst rot. Anyway, yeah, this is worth doing. I'm almost at that turning point where I'm going from shock, horror, and regret that I'm doing this to my beautiful teak deck to really feeling enthusiastic about it. Once I get the structure uncovered, I'm going to be so stoked to be able to easily do a proper job on the deck beams that it's all going to be happy sunshine, rainbows, and unicorn farts from there on. Either that or I've completely lost my mind. I'm not sure. Yeah, check this out. Now, part of this is because I removed a rotten beam here, but watch this. It's all, look, it's separated. It cracked there. This looks like it was, excuse me, this covering board may have actually been L-stock. Well, maybe not. I don't know. It don't matter. I'm going to try to save this, but you know what? They're so beat up. I don't know. I don't know about the pattern. I don't know about the material. The only thing I know is there will be nothing over plywood. Nothing. Nothing. No fiberglass, no nothing. No plywood. Look, it's I can squeeze water out of it. Right, got a beam here. Beam there. Got a bunch of mush there. I'm sitting in my lights. Wow. Let me just, I gotta cut into this corner a little bit. We don't want to cut through this, even though, yeah, part of it has been removed. Mush. It's like warm butter. That probably was marine grade, meaning no voids in it, or knots, I guess. But still, it's mulch now. I'm happy I don't see a lot of like mycelium and stuff. It's a good thing, but still, not very good structurally. I will probably have to remove the covering board, but I'm going to try initially to just get, what do I do with that pry bar? Try to get this mush out from under it. I may have to go below to undercut that. Anyway, my intention was to clear this away so I could see better what's going on. Right, it ends here, so. Another beam. Right about there. Yeah, right where it stopped. Yep. Yeah, this is like good old-fashioned water damage. It's not really rot per se. Beams certainly would not have improved with a good drying. Neither would this ply, to be honest. Yeah, let's do that. Ooh. All right. skylight in the engine bay. This goes up. Doesn't feel like it. The frames, it's not, the frames aren't soft going up into there. At least not that one. Nor here. We got our shelf right here, which is fine as far as I can tell. I really don't want to disturb this or the covering board. I think whatever I use, and I'm thinking more and more black locust. How is this thing still holding me up? Magic. I'm going to, rather than pull this, although I wish I hadn't started drilling out the plugs. Yeah, well, I got to take the fasteners out anyway. Because this thing would be a bear to replicate. I mean, I could do it. It's a good, honest 3/4 of an inch here. I think what I can do is lay a wider piece of black locust in here, milled down to 1/2 inch, that extends, I don't know, a couple inches out of this one here. And that'll help support, in addition to the new beams, that'll help support the new planks and get all the rotten old plywood out, get all the screws out, although I think I have a screw there that's buried under that. We may very well have to pull all this off. And this plywood basically just nailed on. I think I'm looking at a ferrous nail there, probably stainless, which isn't very ferrous, but it ain't bronze. It's a screw. Oh, it's a rib nail, I think. No, it was a screw. It's completely smooth, the head of it. Anyhow, even though I have seen rot over there, remember I had to redo that. I think most of the problem, it was coming this way, not coming in this way. I think I told you, probably, I'm sure it wasn't the first time it happened. There was a time, I think it was when I first got the boat here, before I checked those drains to make sure they were clear. I came after a heavy rain, I came here. Remember, this is all cambered that way. The water was standing, it was like that deep, and it was coming all the way up to here. Remember, we still had that trim that sat about 1.25 inches proud, or about 1 inch proud. There was a lake here, so it was just going everywhere it could go in, because the drain was completely clogged. What are you? You're not a screw, you're a rib nail. I don't have a claw hammer handy, but I don't want to hurt myself on this thing. Fasteners. All right, I guess I'm gonna have to risk hurting myself. It's getting late. I want to get more of this out. Go all the way down to here. Anyway, you can see what's. I kept what seemed good up to there. Boom, shakalaka. Demolition is fun. Rebuilding, not so much. But yeah, this is the way to do this. It would have been crazy to do it from below. This beam continues all the way across. I may very well put in a whole new single piece, even if I do wind up laminating it. This here is not pitch pine. There was something that was pitch pine. I think it was the short ones. This was oak, I believe. Doesn't matter that much now. Before I cut it back, I'm gonna come up with a plan. I may scab something in there. I might not, or sister rather. Do I want to cut this out? Yeah, kind of do. It's kind of freaking me out. It's so wet. But actually, I want to wait because I want to do these first and go all the way up to the bits at least. So let's vacuum and call it a day. It's like 5 or something. I've been at it since 7.
didn't take lunch either.